everybody, and welcome to the Tabletop Inn. Please join me at the tavern table while I take a look at Fantastic Factories. Fantastic Factories is a 1 to 5 player game designed by Joseph Z. Chen and Justin Faulkner. In Fantastic Factories, you are rolling a set of die and taking actions based on those face values. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the game and see what it's like. So players in Fantastic Factories start with this headquarters game board that is double layered. You'll be able to place your die in there very nicely. They also start off with 2 energy and 1 metal as their starting resource. They are also given a set of 4 dice of their color. Please note, these dice that I have are actually my own personal die that I picked up while I was in Albuquerque, but the regular die are fairly similar to this, actually. And then every player gets 1 player aid. Now, Fantastic Factories is played in 2 separate phases. The first phase is the market phase, where in turn order, players get to choose one of these cards from the market line. You can either choose, from the blueprint cards here for free. It costs nothing to pick these up. Or if you'd like, you could discard a card that is matching these symbols above these contractors and gain them. For example, you've got a green wrench here above the investor. So if you wanted to, if you wanted to gain the investor, you'd have to pick up or discard a card with the green wrench. In this case, the obelisk has the blue hammer. So if we were to discard the obelisk from our hand, we could gain the engineer. In this case, the engineer also costs 4 energy to pick up. So after a player has picked up a card from the market, be it a contractor after discarding the proper card or a blueprint, they refill the market and then the next player chooses. After every player has gone through a market phase, they take their initial 4 die and they roll them out. So we've got here 2 2s, a 4, and a 5. Now we can take those die and place them on our board. The top row is for research. You can place any value die into this row and draw a card from the blueprint deck. The next row is generate, which will take values 1s, 2s, and 3, and they generate energy equal to the face value of the die. The last row is mining. Values 4, 5, and 6 belong in the mines, and for each die you place, you gain 1 metal, not to the face value. You also gain some bonuses. If you place matching dies on a row, you gain a +1 of whatever you're trying to do. If you place 3 of the same die on a row, you get 2 extra. So this phase happens simultaneously, the manufacture phase. You roll your die and you place your die on your headquarters board and you take whatever it is you're getting. The goal is you're trying to gain enough resources to build up some of these production plants to gain either more resources. For the example, this incinerator requires a card and a metal to be discarded for 6 energy. You're trying to gain more resources in order to generate goods. Goods are basically the victory points in the game. This aluminum factory, for example, requires you to place 2 of the same die along with 5 energy, and you would gain 2 goods and 1 metal. The cost of these is shown on the left side in this case. It requires 2 metal, 2 energy, and a symbol, card matching this symbol. So that's a very quick overview of the game. It's really not much to it. You keep doing that until players either have 10 goods or 10 buildings and or 12 goods. There are also cards that will let you manipulate your die. For example, the golem here. If we take a look at the golem, we can discard any number of energy to gain that value die as an extra die this turn. The camera's not focusing this time, I apologize for that. So what that means is, let's say we have this golem in our factory. We could discard our 2 energy and gain an extra die that are shown in this gray die here. There's a number of them available, and we would gain a 2 value die. That could be really helpful if you're going something like the aluminum factory. Let's say, for example, we rolled this and we didn't get our 2 2s. We got, 1, 5, 4, and 2. But if we had the 2 energy in the golem, we could discard that 2 energy and now gain the double 2s we're looking for, and now we can activate the aluminum factory. So it's all about manipulating your die and just managing your resources and trying to build out the engine that works best for what you have. I really don't have a lot of negative things to say about Fantastic Factories. It's a fantastic game. Who'da thunk it? I really enjoyed it. My friends really enjoy it. I think if I had to pick something to complain about, and this is mainly based on if you just are playing with this kind of player. If you're playing with someone that just likes to hoard cards in their hand, but they don't necessarily like to play them, or they're not being strategic with how they're holding their cards, they're just picking up cards and just holding them in their hand, it can really slow down the pace of the game, because if they're holding all of these cards but they're not playing them, they're obviously going to have cards in their hand that could be helpful to you, but they're not doing you any good in someone else's hand. So that could slow down the pace of the game. I think also at a 5-player game, it can be also somewhat difficult, because again, more of those cards are being distributed versus when you're playing with 4 or 3 players. You get to see more of those cards, and you get to potentially get hands-on with more of those cards. Whereas it's hard to narrow down on a certain strategy, because you might need one certain card to be able to fulfill your strategy, and you're not able to get it because you have so many other players to get through a market phase before it comes to you. So I would say the game may not scale very well above 4 or 5 players, but again, that's just based on a player's certain style. I really still think it's a great game. The insert in this is awesome because it stores everything beautifully. I think it does something really great. So it takes the punch boards out from all the goods, the energy, and the metals. You actually put them underneath the insert, and it causes the insert to become flush with the top of the box. I thought that was really neat. I thought that was a really great way to reduce the waste that you get from board games, where you've just got a bunch of these punch boards that you throw away because they have no use. I thought that was a really neat way to make it to where they're being used, they're not just being thrown away. Overall, it's a really great game. We will be streaming this on Saturday because it's one of our favorite games, and it's a really quick game you can play once everyone figures out the rules. You can almost play this game simultaneously, obviously not doing the market phase simultaneously, but it goes really, really quick. The recommended playtime is 45 to 60 minutes. I'd say that's pretty close, but I think after you get used to it, I would think the playtime is be really close to that 45-minute mark, because if someone comes into it and they know what they're looking for, you could really go through a game quickly. The rounds are fast, and it's an overall really great game. So that is about all I have for Fantastic Factories. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Tabletop Inn, and we'll see you next time. Take care.